I'm Lauren Schaefer, and I'm a real estate agent. It's been about 7 years now. I originally, in my last life, I had a whole different career. Right out of college, I very much wanted to be an HR professional, which I think most people are not thinking about in college. But I had identified that early on in my life as a career path that I felt was a cool way to blend like the desire to be in business in some capacity, but also knowing that I really wanted to support people in some way. So how do I merge these things together? And I remember in high school, my dad being like, have you ever heard about human resources? I'm like, tell me more. And the way that I built that career for myself is I really loved working at really small companies by which I could be scrappy. I would join these companies as kind of their first HR person, and I was everything to everyone. And I loved being that person. I would build a lot of trust with everybody from C-suite executive level all the way down to those entry-level people that you're recruiting and hiring out of college. I found this additional niche for myself by which I almost became a mentor to a lot of people. And I would say that from every level up and down. The funny thing about that job is that I ended up bouncing around a lot because what would happen is I'd come into a company at the stage of like high growth and I would build structure for them. And I'd almost effectively structure myself out of a job, or at least out of a job that I wanted. So I'd hit a point where I'm like, all right, like this company is off and gone. It's now a big company. It's a structured company, but that's no longer my world. So now I'm ready. I'm ready to move on and do the next thing and find that next small company and structure myself out of that job. I think I hit a point about 7 years in where I actually took a little bit of a leave. I quit my final job at a tech company as an HR professional, and I said, you know what, I need a second. I gotta figure out if this is the right long-term path for me. And in that reflection, I look back and I can't believe it. I allowed myself to be unemployed for 6 months. I so appreciate my husband for giving me the grace to allow me to do this. I just needed that moment to think through what made sense. I gave myself the ability and the opportunity to just like dream in my own brain. And where my brain kept coming back to was this concept of, I know all the things that made me really good at HR. Those were all the skill sets that were very innate within me. And even though that was no longer what I felt like the long-term industry for me, I really wanted to take those skills and transfer them in a streamlined way, as much as I could, or as best as I could, into another industry where I could be that same person. I could be everything to everyone, but in a situation or in an environment where it was always a little bit unstructured. And I could always build that structure without having to bounce from company to company, but maybe instead from client to client. And that's where real estate came in.